This episode is brought to you by FX's Shogun, the official podcast. Each week, host Emily Yoshida is joined by the creators, cast, and crew in this exclusive companion podcast. They dive deep into the twists and turns of the plot, go behind the scenes, and explore the real-life history that informed the limited series based on James Clavell's best-selling novel. Search FX's Shogun wherever you listen to podcasts.
Today on CityCast Madison. It's the Friday News Roundup. This week, I'm joined by CityCast Madison's Hayley Sperling and Molly Stentz. We had high-ranking visitors from our nation's capital. Will Madison teachers get a raise? And the community remembers Tony Robinson, 9 years on. It's Friday, March 8th. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Welcome to the Friday News Roundup. Feeling special with a visitor from the White House this week, and hello from a number of flowers already popping up. Makes me happy. Joining me today is another person who makes me happy, leader of this podcast, Molly Stentz. What's good?
Yo, yo, yo. Hello.
And our beautiful newsletter editor, Hayley Sperling. How's it going?
Oh, it's going so good. I'm ready to be back, shining from my vacation.
Yes, happy to have you back. Oh, I feel the sun coming from you. And guess what? You're kicking off this week because you got the deets on who came to visit us.
Yes. Vice President Kamala Harris was in town this week, and she made stops kind of all over. She made stops at the city's new electric BRT bus rapid transit facility near Truax Field. She also went to more of like a fundraising activity at the Democratic Party of Wisconsin state headquarters, which is on the Capitol Square. And she stopped at her one-time childhood home in Madison, which was kind of like a cute little nostalgia trip.
Because not everyone knows that she was here as like a little babe.
Exactly. She was here when she was younger because her dad was an associate professor of economics at UW, and her mom worked as a breast cancer researcher. So she was here from the ages of 3 to 5, starting in like 1968. So when she was at her childhood home, she was like, I don't really remember this house too much, if we're being honest, which fair, I wouldn't. But she was like, I remember like going down this pathway and like feeding the ducks. And I was like, very cute. That's a heartstrings moment. But the meat and potatoes of why she was here, for the most part, she was here to talk about the success of federally funded local apprenticeship programs and infrastructure projects, because we love to talk about infrastructure, and it only makes sense to do that at the BRT facility. And with her at the bus facility was Madison's own mayor, Satya Rhodes Conway, and VP gave Rhodes Conway some major ups for her decision to invest in public transit. She was like, this is good. This is everything that we need. And it's exciting because, you can't go down the street without seeing some sort of construction on the road for what me and my friends have started calling Satya's bus. Satya's bus is on the way. There is no stopping it.
And it's really exciting. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing the thing. It's in the middle of the road and it's happening. Like, I'm like driving over the little red squares. I'm like, let's go.
It literally is in the middle of the road. It's happening. It's coming, whether you want it or not. Satya's bus is on the way to come and get ya. But it's exciting, because Wisconsin is expected to see almost $600 million in federal funding for infrastructure projects under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that Joe Biden signed into law back in 2021, if you recall. So yeah, we're going to get some big cash for that, which is pretty exciting, because if there's one thing our city needs right now, it is money.
Money. And that sweet, sweet federal money.
Exactly.
To help us. Yep.
We love that federal money. It helps a lot. So, Mr. Biden, if you're out there.
And let's not forget, we also pay federal taxes. So it is still, it's not disconnected from our labor.
So true. So true. We are paying into the system that we hopefully reap the rewards of.
Yes.
And also traveling with the vice president was the U.S. acting Secretary of Labor, Julie Su, who was actually born in Madison, if you guys didn't know that. Right.
We gotta have her on the show. I did not know that.
I mean, who amongst us doesn't have a great Madison connection?
That's what I'm saying.
question.
Like, who knew that so many politicians had roots on the isthmus, which is like kind of cool, kind of neat. I learned that from a Badger Herald article. Shout out to the student journalists out there doing some good work. But another big announcement of this trip, which is like kind of why the vice president came out here. Well, one of the reasons why. Harris announced that Joe Biden's recently signed an executive order directing federal agencies to explore which government jobs can be filled with trained apprentices rather than people with 4-year degrees, which is pretty cool because I think that like a lot of people in our society, and especially like a lot of the younger generations right now, are really questioning that kind of 4-year degree life path of like, is this right for me? More students are taking time off, especially with COVID. It really disrupted the learning system. So now it's kind of really nice to see, just people at the top saying that like, other routes are okay and other routes can be just as viable. And this is not the only way you can go. So that was kind of fun to see. And of note, this was, according to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, since the start of the year, Biden officials, so like Biden and his entourage, have made 6 visits to Wisconsin. And their team is beefing up staff in the state. So there is definitely only more to come. Meanwhile, presumed Republican candidate Donald Trump has yet to come to Wisconsin. But our Senator Ron Johnson has said that he knows that Donald Trump understands the importance of Wisconsin, and we should expect to see him and his surrogates more so later this year. The important thing to note is that Wisconsin's presidential primary is April 2nd, and you can get ready to vote. Get all the information that you need by heading to myvote.wi.gov.
Amazing. We love voting. We love voting on this team, and thanks to the administration for knowing our value. We're the it chick. We love it. Before we dive into any more news, y'all, let's take a quick break. It's March, folks, and in case you forgot, we live in Wisconsin. Although it's been an unusually warm winter, we can't guarantee we won't get more storms with challenging road conditions. Attorney Z. Usman with Usman Law wants to remind you of some of the winter rules of the road to help keep you safe. So remember, accelerate and decelerate slowly. Don't follow any car too closely. Avoid using cruise control, steer in the direction of a skid, and don't stop when going up a hill. If you are in an accident, call Attorney Z. Usman. He's handled hundreds of insurance claims and can ensure you get everything you are owed. There are no upfront costs and no fee unless he is successful. Also, pro tip, don't negotiate with the insurance company on your own. Go visit MadisonAccidentLawyer.com to schedule a free call with Attorney Usman.
Shipping can make or break a sale, so optimize how you ship your orders with ShipStation. They make it easy to automate and manage orders no matter how big your business grows. And they might even be able to help reduce shipping and warehouse costs. So optimize and keep up your momentum for growth with ShipStation. Sign up for your free 60-day trial now at ShipStation.com and use the code POD. That's ShipStation.com with the code POD.
All right, we're back. We've been talking about bolstering the manufacturing sector and labor. And Molly, labor's on the mind.
Yeah, well, speaking of the power of unions, here's a shot for you. So we've talked about Madison hired a new school superintendent with a $300,000 contract. Here's the chaser. Madison teachers have now been told that their wages will be frozen for next year.
That's a bad chaser.
Yeah.
That's no pickleback.
No.
Yeah. Madison schools are facing a tough year because the pandemic, federal money is running out that was plugging a lot of holes in local municipal budgets all over the place. So, yeah, welcome, new superintendent. Have fun with this new challenge that awaits you here.
He's working for that $300,000 right off the bat. I mean, he better be.
I saw this story in the State Journal this week, and it just made me think, wow, what a gift to start a new job and like have all of the employees be like, you were the reason we didn't get a raise. Like, ouch. Way to set someone up for success. But
it's got to be more complicated than that.
Totes. So the thing about the school district that we know, because of Act 10, they're public employees. And so they are held to cost of living increases. That is as much as they can bargain over. And so basically where we're at for this year is they're asking for a little over 4%. That's the maximum they can ask for under inflation. So we know last year when they were bargaining, they got 8%. That's where inflation was at the time. They asked for the max and school board agreed, and they got that. This year, inflation's tamped down a little bit, and that's what they're asking for. But school district so far is saying, no dice. So we'll see where it goes. This is just the opening salvos, as it were, with the teacher saying, how about inflation? And the district saying, how about not? We'll see a draft version of the budget, hopefully around April. And then the board will look to vote on a preliminary budget in the summer, and then the final budget in the fall once they have a handle on what enrollment is. So it's a really interesting problem for us here in Madison because people love our schools and also people are getting priced out of the city. I mean, I've yet to meet anyone who thinks Madison's housing is too cheap. And we know higher costs for the schools means, higher property taxes, drives up rents and mortgages.
We always hear about teachers and us needing to pay teachers more. Not everyone agrees with that, but I think most people agree with that. And then we were just hearing last year about summer school and they're upping the wages, trying to get people in to teach, just the future of our world and our labor force. And to see this is like, oh, wait, what? This seems like a step backwards.
Yeah, it just feels like we're having this conversation over and over and over again. And I am just curious, and I don't have the answer, and I don't know if there is a solid answer. But like, what is the long-term plan for this? How can we get our teachers guaranteed the money that they deserve, which is literally endless amounts of money? Because right now, they are understaffed, under-resourced in so many different ways. And it's just, I don't think that anyone should have to really fight for a cost of living, wage, because not getting that cost of living adjusted means that we're literally saying no, our teachers do not deserve to make how much it costs to live where they are working, which is insane to me. It's insane. So how do we get past this? Yeah, it's literally
it's a pay cut.
They're taking a pay cut to do the same work, but we know that their work is not just whatever is written on a job description. It goes so far above and beyond. And also, especially with being a teacher, so many of them are pouring their own money and resources into filling their classrooms and, providing enriching environments for these kids.
Do you remember the teachers who are out walking when there's all those failures with the bus system and the bus provider they chose? They were teachers walking kids to school. These are the best of the best among us.
Truly. And we should give them more than a cost of living wage adjustment. I don't know what else to say, but also where does that money come from? I don't know. Can someone lead us to a treasure map? And there's I don't know, some Pleasant Rowland's hidden American Girl treasure somewhere. That's the only thing I can think of.
Magical thinking at this point. Totally. Let's go.
Yeah, literally.
That's where I live. It's happier here.
I'm dying.
They're nice here. Yes. Well, like you said, Molly, it's also now going to be the purview of our new superintendent. So, dun dun da da. He's got a lot on his plate, but that was no surprise and shouldn't be. And certainly that's not unique to Madison.
Very curious to see how he handles this one. Like this is like right away, new job. And yep, you got a lot on your plate, sir. So good luck to ya. Congrats on the 87 sick days.
Yeah. Thinking about our students and schools, something kind of somber to mark this week on Wednesday. It's the 9th anniversary of the death of Tony Terrell Robinson Jr. And there's a number of events to mark the anniversary, including, this is a high note, on Wednesday, there was a dedication ceremony of a new mural at McPike Park. And it's gorgeous. So the artist originally painted it back in 2020, when all of these murals and artwork was going up, in protest of what happened following the murder of George Floyd. There was this work of Tony, and I can just describe it a little bit. He's in the center, and there's flowers around him, and there are 2 quotes that are just really moving and, thinking about our kids as the future. One of the quotes is, "Just watch, I'm going to change the world, Tony Robinson. You ever have that feeling that you're going to live forever?" So those are both things that Tony said. I also want to note that at the dedication ceremony, organizers were gathering donations for, quote, "the purpose of taking Matt Kenney to the Police and Fire Commission in order to face consequences of his actions on March 6, 2015. So, this is this, ode to someone who was really valued in our community, 19-year-old. And it was also like a call to still hold the folks who were involved in his death accountable. The officer who shot Tony Robinson, that is still a mission. And it makes me think about the conversation we had last August when we spoke with Tony's grandmother, Sharon Irwin Henry, about her efforts. She has not stopped fighting for justice for Tony. And so are people in Madison. There is a whole community that never wants anything like that to happen again, and for justice for Tony. So I do want to just note for folks who are listening, if you didn't get the chance to listen to our conversation with Sharon, it was really powerful. And so we'll put that in our show notes. But yeah, it's a week. It's a week to kind of ground and think about where we are, where we're going, for sure.
Yeah, this is one of those stories that, if you were here in Madison in 2015, this is the only thing that was going on. At the time, I was a student journalist working at the Badger Herald, and I remember, when we first got the police alert that someone had been shot on Willie Street, and we were like, okay, well, someone needs to get down there right now. And, my editor went, and she was just describing the scenes, and there was just so much going on. And in the days that followed, it was massive protests. It was just huge. People filled the streets. They shut down East Washington. It was nuts, and I think that was kind of the first time that I truly felt the gravity of this work and of that job, when I was talking to Tony's friends. These are literal teenagers who were out on the street just bawling because their friend just died, And I think that was it really hit me, the reality of these situations, and that the ripple effects are truly endless. This is a story that I think about almost every day. There is really no getting past it for me. And maybe it's just because I spent so much time at the protests, and this was a story that I followed for years and still am following. It is crazy, when the district attorney announced that they were not going to charge Matt Kenney, and that then later the police department said there was no wrongdoing. And, Tony's family, Sharon Irwin, says there are a lot of unanswered questions still, and she's right. And there are so many things, I think, that our police department and that our community services and that our community in general just still needs to reckon with this. And I think having this mural is It's very nice. It's a very nice and a beautiful way to remember something horrible and tragic, but also remember the life and the beauty behind, why we're here. We're not just talking about the death of a 19-year-old boy. We're talking about his life. We're talking about what he could have been. We're talking about the potential that our community was robbed of when he was shot and killed. He was shot 7 times, it's a story that I think Madison, we can't forget it. You really can't. And we need to be talking about it. We need to be thinking about it.
And we still haven't really healed from it.
Yeah.
In a way, if you ever can move through that grief and trauma, it's 9 years and it feels like it was last year. And it feels like we as a city have still been trying to find ways through it, ways around it, what to do, right? We've talked to the independent police monitor that was hired in the wake of that. I mean, there were unsuccessful lawsuits. There were successful lawsuits. There was attempts at changing the structure of government. There were expensive police consultants hired. There, so many steps that were taken to try to figure out what happens now. How does this never happen again? And of course it has, right? Similar things have happened, unarmed civilians being shot. And we're still grappling with it 9 years later.
Yeah. I feel like one of the more promising things that have come, I'm sure y'all will agree with this, is the CARES program. The idea of sending someone, a mental health specialist, rather than a police officer, when someone is under the influence or having a mental health, moment. It happens. It happens. And we want people to live. And, I'm just sitting here probably like y'all, like I have goosebumps just talking about this, being on Willie Street. I was on Willie Street that night and I didn't know Tony, but I immediately burst into tears, and it's still in my body, and it's in everyone's body. The idea that this is our community, and do we feel safe here, and are our friends and family safe? So I'm glad that we took the time to talk about this mural and the dedication and the anniversary, because it's so critical, and the mural is beautiful and astutely shared by Hayley. It's about his life. It's not just about his death. It's about his life. And yeah, just gonna take a moment and think about, the rest of us do have to carry on. So dedicating this mural and taking time and trying to fix our systems to, hopefully keep this from ever happening again is top of mind. But, that's why we're here and we're having the conversations, and they need to continue, and we will not stop talking about it. So we have that pledge here. So what a week. It's a big, big week. And as always, I just feel so grateful to have both of you to round up the week. Hayley Sperling, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Molly Stentz, come back anytime.
Ciao.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. We're produced this week by Phil Circus, Lizzie Goldsmith, Exandra McMahon, and me. Molly Stentz is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Hayley Sperling is our newsletter editor. And thanks to Natalia Aldana for also editing the newsletter this week. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with a teacher? See you back here Monday morning with more stories from around the city. Until then. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. I don't know what you need today.